Once again, we'll keep owners' comments to 3 minutes each. Rachel will be keeping some time for us so that we can figure that out. Is there anyone that would like to speak this evening? Yes.
Good evening. Eileen Barr, 1138 Mosaic. I would like to thank the board, the management, the park committee, which I am a member, parents, and everybody else who raised some important issues about sand in our playgrounds, and who all worked together and through the process helped improve the safety, quality of life, and appearance of celebration. An incident occurred a while ago when a small child became infected by a parasite that can be presumed to have been acquired from playing in sand at a celebration playground. Because the board and management took no action at that time, direct causation cannot be proved. I know that the response would be extremely different now. Besides the distastefulness of a worm creeping under your skin and trying to deal with an infant who can't understand why something hurts and who has to take powerful medication, there is also the issue that many people do not have totally functioning immune systems. Included in that group would be the very young, the old like me, people on chemotherapy, diabetics, and Phil Mickelson, who is the face of a drug that suppresses the immune system, among many others. But those representing CROA took the issue very seriously and worked with the parents to find a successful solution in North Village. Covering the sandbox is also a benefit for parents who are fans of sand, as the cover makes it possible to play right after our very heavy and regular Florida rains. Long Meadow is a more difficult problem. It is that much overused word, a conundrum. The CDC recommends that sand be covered when not in use, while the Consumer Product Commission and other organizations are still listing sand as acceptable surfacing material for play. With surface material, then I think our insurance companies, risk managers, or our lawyers should be consulted to see if signs can be installed around the playground to notify parents that it's a surface material and not necessarily play material. But an important issue has been raised about the fall rate of sand and whether it is an adequate surface material for the Long Meadow play equipment. I hope the concerned parents will give management adequate time to investigate, and if the play equipment requires a different surface, I hope that nostalgia will not override children's well-being. Many areas of celebration look much better today than they did when I first started looking at things. The cell service is a great addition, but it is being backed up by actions of the board and staff. Among the notable improvements are the new mulch at Lakeside Park, looks terrific, the upgraded turf at Spring Park, well overdue, and the improved landscaping at North Village Commons, which is really lovely. So I would like to end as I began and say thank you. Please keep up the great work. It is really appreciated.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
No, I'm going to wait till the next meeting.
Oh,
I'm going to prepare some.
No problem. Yes, sir.
Yeah, very quickly. Rick Nelson, 500 Marisol Circle. I just wanted, from having looked at the agenda, it looks like you are now considering debundling this whole dog park issue, and I want to applaud you for that. I think that's an outstanding way to handle it. Thank you.
Saw another hand somewhere. Yes, ma'am.
Cookie Kelly, 691 Front Street, the corner of Celebration and Celebration. I'm here because I know you're all aware, but I'm not sure how aware you are of the layers, the onion layer, and the issues that have arisen in Town Center. You certainly have seen the maintenance issues, which have gotten worse and worse and worse, and of absolute danger to the occupants. You know, when Disney created Celebration and whatever it was they had in mind, which we really aren't completely sure, Joe Barnes said, you know, we're just making the community, the buildings, and you have to make the community. Well, that's developed now. There is a wonderful community developing. But what has happened along the way is that when Disney transferred Town Center to Lexington, they put in effect one of those most marvelous Disney legal documents that in great detail says exactly what's supposed to happen, who's supposed to park, who's not supposed to park, who's supposed to paint what color, who's allowed to change things. The trouble is, Lexington signed that agreement, but they don't pay any attention to it. And Disney, who has the right to impose sanctions on them, I mean, in the strictest form, chooses to remain in abeyance, biding their time. And now it's come to the point where if things don't change, if things don't happen, there will be an explosion. And it will not be good for the entire town. So what I'm here to say is, CROA, I know, I understand, I don't understand. I'm here to tell you I don't understand all the layers of government as much as I try, of responsibility. But what I'm asking is for your assistance, because we, the who live in Town Center, are residents, we are members of CROA, and we form a very sensitive center to this community. And we need your help, or otherwise there will be tidal waves that go through the entire community. And so I thank you very much, and I'm asking for your assistance. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Cookie, it'd be good if you come to the CROA meeting. The CROA meeting.
Oh, I've been to CROA.
Well, I think you should be coming. I think we have another one on the 16th of November.
17th.
17th of November. Show up there.
No, I'm sorry.
CROA.
I thought you...
Not CDD.
Yeah, CROA.
CCDD.
No, CROA.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that can find Town Center.
Well, yes, but however, this is...
And that's where the Disney people are.
Well, exactly. However, in the town documents, they took us out. We were extricated from the commercial and created a residential community.
Right.
A residential component, and we are under CROA. And we are called Celebration Village. That's the district, and then there's another name for the section. So we are residential. CROA deals with commercial issues.
Right. But
We are residential.
all your money has been going to the election account, right, hasn't it? The assessments?
Well, I mean, I didn't want to make this.
Well, I'm just saying, come to that meeting, because that's where they sit, and let them know, let them hear. Bring a couple other
They have
people.
heard.
Well, they maybe need to hear again, because this has been going on for many years that I know of.
Oh, we know. We have over my head.
Exactly.
And the thing is that the only reason I'm here tonight is because there's nowhere else to go. You know, we can't call ABC.
But
You know that.
But we'll be there. I'll be at the CROA meeting.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
just bring them along, and we'll be more than happy to.
I'll send you the information.
And once again, Dave, members of the board, which has no money and very little control of Town Center, had spoken, written, lobbied, everybody, absolutely everybody, and gotten just summarily dismissed, ignored, promised. The promises, they must cut and paste the promises. Use 4A on this, yeah, we're going to do it, but they haven't. And now the stairs, I don't know what you...
Yes, we're aware of the stairs, yes.
Okay, but now there's a whole landing that's going in.
Exactly.
Eric, can we approach TCC about this?
I can give you an update. There has been a timeline established for the aesthetics that CROA has the authority to oversee and then to fine and then quite possibly mediation if it comes to that. That timeline's been extended a bit because when they were doing the aesthetic repairs, they found that there was structural damage there. So in order to allow Lexington the time frame to address the structural damage, that time frame's been pushed a little bit. So that's the process that they're in right now. And then Lexington is meeting with the CROA manager here on a monthly basis, giving us updates to that timeline. And that timeline is being updated on the website. And I know that there is some, I don't have the exact details, but there is some work going on with the stairwell. They were looking for a beam, I believe, and they got it in, and they're beginning the process of that work on that.
Steve,
stairwell.
all I'm saying is that not only this meeting, but previous meetings I've been attending at CCDD, Letson was getting hammered by every resident around.
Right.
I think we need to put our input in there too and make sure the TCC is well aware of what the problems are, and the urgency has just gotten paramount.
Sure, and I can tell you that they are aware that there's a need for this stuff to get done.
Well,
and I
it's
think
more,
this is
more than aware. They need to be doing
Yeah.
something.
But this is the last step. The timeline as established will get you to what needs to be done if it's done when it's supposed to. If you go to the next level, and I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but if you go to that next level, that's going to take a lot of time also.
Well,
So
needs
TCC
to
is
hold their
working
feet to the
down the
fire.
timeline of.
I mean, unfortunately, it's like 5 years that I know of already.
And the timeline,
Never, always gets, I
It's
understand,
not- it's
I
not.
understand, I
and
really do.
mediation supposedly already occurred.
Yeah.
And we need to mediate again. What is mediate a euphemism?
Well, they try to get them to do the work, that's what they're trying to do.
Well, that's
But,
right.
myself, for myself, if I had the phone number to Menton himself that owns that, who owns Lexington, he's the one that's gonna have to say, yeah,
He won't.
take about $10 million and throw it into the.
He will be in town next week or the week
He what,
after.
sir?
He's going to be in town next week or the week
He's
after.
supposed to come.
Supposed to come on Monday, he believe that the meeting's not been noticed.
I'm sorry. Can you talk at the microphone?
Laura, come on up.
Yeah.
Well, good, I'm glad you got him coming.
Hi, I'm Laura, so 709 Bloom Street, condo board president of Town Center Condos, exhausted condo board president of Town Center Condos. So, yeah, I'm here to ask for help as well. I've been doing this pretty exclusively and alone and nonstop for 2 years in intensity since the first onset of a balcony ceiling underneath that dropped to the unit below. That started my intense push for work. I did talk at that time to CROA, Teresa was in a different role, so I think Teresa about sort of aesthetic issues. I thought perhaps it could be addressed from that, and didn't really get anywhere. I looked through documents and found that some citations or write-ups had been given, but our documents are so murky that nobody could really figure out who was responsible, so that sort of pushed it aside. I feel like there are any number of reasons that things have not happened, and we've now reached, as Cookie said, very much so a boiling point. And I'll just use one example that I am dealing with this week. So we received with approximately a week, maybe a day less notice, that our condo units would have the annual mandatory sprinkler inspection for our units. They come in, the fire inspector comes in, inspects, the buildings are checked as well for water pressure to those sprinklers, and the lights inside the unit, all of which I take very seriously, especially considering we're neglected buildings, now 11 years neglected, stick construction. I want the fire stuff working, right? So I took it upon myself because basically my understanding is even though our life is sort of partially, other than my smoke detector and my fire extinguisher in the hands of Lexington, they called and made the appointments. That's where it ends. So the inspector shows up and he knocks on the door, and if you're there, you're there, and if you're not, you're not, and whatever ratio he gets, he hands it off to the fire marshal, and maybe the fire marshal follows up, maybe they don't. Okay, and what I understand from the fire inspector, I just have spent 2 days, and I'm due to have 2 more days with, because I took it upon myself to do so, going in and out of every unit. I spent 4 days before that calling every resident, emailing every resident. I assure you, I know a board president has a big responsibility. I'm taking it very seriously. I still think this is above and beyond my job, okay? So we get done with this. I've met a lot of wonderful owners. I'm thankful. Tenants, didn't know we even had. Our management files are a mess. Nothing is organized. Creating an owner list. I mean, the scope goes on and on and on of how we've been let down in Town Center, okay? We made it through the first 2 buildings relatively okay. I want to say the fire inspector commended me because the previous year, 611 campus, they were able to get into about 5 or 6 units. We've only missed 4. Okay, that's my effort. Okay, I'm asking for help. Okay, today's 701 Front Street over the Market Street Cafe. Fire alarms don't sound in the units, they sound only outside of the units. 606 Market, no alarms at all inside or outside of the units. 720 Celebration Avenue. Outside, not under where the salon is. Those units worked inside, not outside. The other half of the building, not at all. And then I'm done, I get all done with the fire inspector, I'm not finished with the buildings. I ask, may we have a report, town center condos, I want to follow up on this, I want to make sure it's taken care of. I can only give a report to the people who pay me. And they're not obligated to do, really, technically, once I hand them that report, it's out of my hands. So I'm supposed to go back to my 105 owners and tell them, I don't have any way of checking because I have no communication with Lexington that's worth anything. Nothing. I cannot count on getting an answer, an honest answer, a fast answer, anything. I want accountability. This is insane that we give them 80% of our dues and then I can't even say my building is fire safe. I can't say it to the residents that the buildings are fire safe. Okay? So I'll end on that note. I know that's above my time. I'm asking for help. I don't know how it can happen. I'm just telling you right now, I am dedicating, I'm well over 60 hours a week in this nonstop. I sit on the couch, I'm on email, I'm on phones, I'm in units. I just need help. It's a reasonable request. The downtown
Who's
is...
going to be at your meeting with you, with the owner?
Well, I will say that is a big question mark at best, that there will be a meeting. I will say that. We don't have confirmation that there'll be a meeting. It's supposedly an open format, so owners can attend the meeting and have a discussion, if you will. However, I will say a condition for our board of a meeting is that we have the actual engineering report for these buildings. We have a timeline. I'm sorry, the timeline is at best, it's not happening fast enough. And I want to also say for Steve, a little bit of a correction, because on the August 5th meeting where we stood with, sat with CROA, we approved a timeline that wasn't 100%. I thought that was pretty big of us owners because it did not have every roof included in that timeline, and every roof is beyond at this point, or at its limit.
Definitely.
Okay? But at that meeting, we were told by Dan Dixon, the engineer, that this is such a large scope, multiple engineers, multiple architects, many, I felt like here is Dan Dixon, and man, the pyramid just went wide and far. You'd think we would have seen somebody in town, some of the sub-engineers of the engineer or the architect. Nobody for 3 months. Nobody, until the stairs became an issue. Okay, the stairs have gone into wood rot, have gone into, we're done. It's mediation, it's media, it's county commissioner, it's building inspectors, it's code enforcement. It is, because I've gone to everybody else in town. I've gone to TCC. I've gone individually to, CROA board members.
What does TCC say?
Celebration Company.
What have they said?
I've met with Tim, I've met with Teresa.
What has the Celebration Company said to you?
They're not responding.
Yeah, nothing, nothing really, other than I would probably want to talk to my manager, and Pat Wasson, and perhaps, and then Steve when he came on board. And I have done all of those things, and I've sent emails.
Get out the page and see if he can be there, or maybe get
Yeah.
Jim Parker or somebody with these people.
Yeah, and I've emailed Paige multiple times. It really hasn't,
Well, maybe if she gets a
maybe,
hold of it,
absolutely. I'm all for anybody able to do anything. I'm just saying now it's reached a point where the buildings are deteriorating so fast. Our balconies, we were noticed in July, we're not supposed to use.
I've been walking around in here, I've been looking at it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very-
I mean, how long are we supposed to not use our balconies, or not large groups, or define that? How am I supposed to tell my, residents? Yeah, it's like, well, what's too many? What is that?
Right.
So at any rate, thank you for hearing.
Is Concert Condo self-managed right now?
We just switched management companies, yeah. I mean, that's how serious, and I felt that culpability has been across the range of spectrum. I've looked at our board, I've looked at our management, I've looked at town entities and boards, and yes, so now we are self-managed, and with me being a very active part of that at this point in time. And it's going to get rougher before it gets better, because we're looking for sort of a no nonsense and, sort of no more excuses.
Can we
situation.
with TCC
So,
and Mike Nunes?
Mike Nunez?
Yeah.
I can reach out to them tomorrow and get in touch with them
I'm with her, I would.
to figure out
Yeah.
what the best
But
route
if
is.
Menton's coming down, I mean, I think they should be there.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's in
PCC
charge
should
of the
be
special
there.
events, but
To push this
Yeah.
along.
Doesn't have anything to do with the qualities.
yeah, I'm not really feeling Mike Nunez, if I can just say, I'll go on the record and say that. I'm not seeing how he's going to help us at this point in time. But, you know, I mean, I'll take a meeting with anyone. I've said that from the beginning. You know, I will meet with anybody. I'm
I think
not even,
I think we don't really have a
We don't really have a horse in the race.
horse in the race, but we do have a
Well,
bunch of
actually, we
people.
do.
Right.
Because we have
And we
residents.
also have. we also
Yeah, you have
so
yeah.
It's our town center and it affects us all.
Right.
Yeah.
Financially, but I think it was down the
Laurel,
street.
actually, weren't you contacted by Paige Pierce and said that your CROA representative was the one to?
Yes, I absolutely. I've been directed to our boards and entities here to say, you know, and I did, you know, bring up, even if I was like, okay, I'll set aside the structural for a moment and I'll go with the aesthetics and say the stucco is bubbling, or, you know, the wood rot is falling off. That I'll go that route if that's what's helpful. All of it needs to be fixed, you know. I mean, all of it needs to be fixed, and it does affect every resident. Never mind the 105 that are living downtown. It's an issue now, you know.
Properties cannot be sold.
Yeah, they can't, exactly. We have little ability to sell anything. And I'll say the last piece is that I went into one of the units today over the Market Street Cafe, and after a summer of rain, and I can attest to this because I had rain come into my unit all summer long because of a faulty roof that was put onto my unit, and literally I took photos. The perimeter of the entire unit has a water stain. Oh, anywhere from small to that wide, because all summer long, it came in from the roof, which supposedly has more time left on it. That wasn't on our timeline, that roof. Down the interior of the wall, so I know, but it will be told that it's our issue as an owner because it's inside the unit. But I'm telling you, I walked outside onto the balcony, everything is sealed outside, and I looked up at the stucco, and every foot or so, bubble, you know, the water's running on the inside of the wall. You know, I'm an at-home mom without a college education, and I'm figuring this out. So I know there are people smart enough in this room and beyond this room that can come in and look at this and say, no more, no more. The celebration deserves better than this. The residents deserve better than this. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Laurel. Thank you.
Anyone else for owner's comment period this evening? All right.
Leonard.
Oh, Leonard, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Leonard 10, 411 Campbell Street. Actually, I wasn't going to comment about sand, but sometimes I just can't let something go when I hear something. I heard someone, it was Eileen, but it doesn't matter who said it, because it was said in previous meetings about the fall height onto the sand. I would almost have to guess that when Long Meadow Park was redone, I'm not sure whether it was 7, 8, 9 years ago, that management company did not allow a playground manufacturer to come in and install something that didn't have the appropriate fall heights, number one. Number two, on reported raccoon diseases, CDC actually says there's been fewer than 25 cases in the United States reported ever. And 16 of those were pretty bad neurological cases. I went through and looked at those 16 cases as far as where it talks about the cause of them. 3 of them suspected sand. Somewhere, and I don't have the number exactly because I didn't have time to do this today because I came to actually comment about budget tonight, not this. There was something around 9 or so from dirt, and then a few other unknown in that particular 16 in the neurological study. So you take sand out, raccoons are going to poop next to the sand in the dirt. You get a kid playing in the dirt, you got the same disease if it's going to be passed, which if you look at 25 cases reported in California, Illinois, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota. Those were the neurological cases that was listed in this particular CDC report. It will, I lost my train of thought there, hang on here. Trains left the station some nights. The whole point of that particular point is removing sand without removing raccoons does nothing to the neighborhood. So, you know, do you want to remove raccoons? Can you remove them? There also are specific things under the CDD about raccoon latrines. They have a very nice webpage about raccoon latrines and how you get rid of them and things like that. One of them is you pick up all the stuff where they've been going. Like I mentioned in a prior meeting, you haul it off. It's just like dogs like to go in the same place where other dogs have gone. Raccoons like to come back and use their latrine. You haul off all that material. Is that the end of my time there?
There was 3 minutes, yeah.
You haul off all of that material and raccoons are gone.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Anyone else for homeowners comment this evening?
And one over here.
May I just follow, just want to comment, just make sure that hear what I said, the way it's interpreted.
I think we're okay, Eileen.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Anyone else for homeowners comment this evening? All right. I'll verify the meeting was properly noticed.
Yes, it was.
All right, and we definitely have a quorum, so I'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:57 p.m. Do I have a motion to adopt the amended agenda?
So moved.
All right, and a second? Second. All right, no discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the 2 last meetings as listed? Motion approved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, committee reports. ARC? About covenants.
Robert wants to go first.
Robert always wants to go first.
Very interesting.
Yes. All right. Hello, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Robert Flam, and I sit on the Covenants Committee. And I'm here to do the monthly board update, along with talking about our October Covenants topic. So on October 14th, the board met here at the 851 building for our October Covenants meeting. It was really the first time that we implemented the new Florida statute in adhering the fines. And all went well, so that was good. It was a little bit different, but went well. And our next meeting is Wednesday, November 11th at 6 o'clock here at the 851 building, and we encourage residents to come down, see what the process looks like. We're always looking for an audience. We'd love to have one this big. During that meeting, we're hoping to close out all of the cleanup issues. So it will be fully complete after next month's meeting. So we're really excited about that. So our October topic from Covenants is really exterior paint and dormer windows. We know we're running into the non-rainy season, so we thought it would be a good time just to mention that here at Town Hall, if you are looking to paint your home, you can review paint samples here at Town Home or even rent out the color book, which is available here to peruse at your leisure. Community Standards is currently working on updating the paint book since Color Wheel is no longer around the community. And until then, if you have a paint color that you're interested in painting your home, have your contractor or yourself come down to Town Hall, and our staff here can verify if that works for the specific architecture of your home. The other thing we want to talk about with painting your home is dormer windows. So this is an ongoing issue in town that we just want to readdress, that the dormer windows really, if they're unfinished attic spaces, they either have a living space quality window treatment, such as shutters or blinds, or if it's not a living space window, that the glass be blacked out so that the interior structure, which is typically 2x4s, is not visible from the street. So we know have some owners are painting the glass or tinting, and I know our ARC is looking at other alternatives as well, as there are certain homes in town that are very difficult to gain access to those spaces. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
Thanks.
Flex Break Paperwork's amazing for that. Parks and Rec. Uh-oh. Big guns tonight.
Well, actually, our meeting took place after the board packets were due, so
Oh,
that's why nothing's in there.
all right.
Just to recap real quick, Fall Festival this past Saturday, great turnout, we had approximately 2,000 attendees. Special thanks again to Better Homes and Garden Real Estate, who served as the sponsor for the event. We were thrilled to have Off Kilter as a musical entertainment that seemed to really bring out a lot of people. 17 vendors this year, craft vendors, everything from crafts, jams, jellies, that sort of thing. So we were happy with that turnout as well. And then we had mechanical bull, obstacle course, pumpkin painting, and haymates for the kids. So, but overall, and so far, initial feedback has been really positive for it. Founders Day, November 13th and 14th. Imagination Realty sponsoring the Friday night concert downtown, which begins at 6 p.m. We still do have some tables of 4 available for purchase if anyone is interested. And our Veterans Day Parade is Saturday, 9 o'clock. Applications are now available online as well as at the front desk at Town Hall. We'll do the parade and then immediately following the Veterans Ceremony at Founders Park. The town photo will be at 12:45 over at Lakeside, and then town picnic at 1 o'clock. Four Rivers will be catering that. Just make note, the November Food Truck Friday will be the 20th, 1 week later because of Founders Day. And just jumping into December real quick, Holiday Fest will be December 5th at Town Hall from 2 to 6. Stay tuned to the website and the December Celebration News for the schedule of events. And the home decorating contest will be December 10th, and those applications are now available as well.
Perfect. Any questions for Parks and Rec? All right, thank you. I didn't ask if there are any questions for comments. Are there any questions for comment? All right. Communications. I'll give a report. I'm board liaison for communications. I actually don't sit on the committee itself. But we had a meeting, which we haven't had a meeting in a while. So that was exciting to me. We have a couple of new faces on the communications committee as well, bringing kind of some insight. A couple of people have moved on from the communications committee. One of the things that we are focusing on right now is the website itself. So what is referred to as the front porch. It's not just the discussion forums that a lot of people refer to, it's everything else with the documentation and the different things that JR references with event calendars and all that sort of thing. If you try to view this on a mobile device now, you notice that it's a horrible experience in many cases. So we're trying to look at a couple of different ways to kind of streamline that a little bit better, as well as part of the board goal of working on making sure the community is marketed appropriately. One of the things is that if you're a prospective resident trying to visit the site today, we want to make sure that we've kind of put Celebration's best face forward, be able to provide resources for prospective residents and interested parties to learn more about the community as well. So we have a preliminary kind of draft on what we're looking for as far as the website, and the next steps is to kind of drill all that down, and then we're going to go out for bid to get a couple of different vendors to approach to bid on the project. Any questions from the Communications Committee? Nope. All right. Perfect. Financial report.
Okay. As of September 30th, we had $2.3 million in operating cash. Our income came in over budget by about $71,000, and it's primarily due to the bad debt write-off adjustment that we do every month. Working capital income was $31,899, exceeding the budget by $3,600. Working capital year-to-date is $324,000, and it exceeds the budget by $73,000. Legal fee income is $23,000 over budget, and our September expenses were $351,000. September expenses came in under budget by $15,000, and with regard to collections, we show one $1,056,000 in outstanding accounts receivable as of September 30th. $536,000, or approximately half of that, is due to fines. With reserves, we have $2.9 million in our reserves. Working capital reserve year-to-date is $1.1 million, and our contingency reserve is $370,000. That's it for financials.
Gotcha. Any questions on the financial report? All right, management report.
You have a complete management report in your packet. I'm going to touch on a couple items today, but that management report is also available online for any of the residents that'd like to see it. If they want to elaborate a little bit more on any of these items. Eric touched on the website, so I will move past the website.
Sorry.
That was good, thank you, Eric. One of the topics we want to discuss tonight was cell service, and just give an operations update on cell service. As you know, and for those folks watching at home, cell service is our new mobile app that allows residents to be able to submit requests, work order requests, or they can just submit comments, questions to the board also. To date, since we implemented this in end of June, we have 801 total requests. As of this morning, 48 of those are open. The graph that we provide for you in the board packet is about a week old because we have to pull that and screenshot it and get it ready to go for the board packet. But as of this morning, 48 open. 158 of those requests have come over the last 30 days. 33 requests over the last 7 days. Our highest user to date right now has 198 of those requests. So we have one individual user that has 198 requests. And we have the next highest at 92 requests, and the next highest after that at 53 requests. We have had a little bit of a backup on cell service. We have been overloaded with requests, and with the guys being out in the field doing the work, I haven't had as much time to actually complete the request. And we know that transparency and showing that we're being responsive is an important part of cell service. So what we're doing is working with the front desk staff and the weekend staff to maximize the use of their time to be able to help at least take those from submitted to received, and then to be able to upload any pictures that we received from the maintenance team. We did find a minor, I don't want to call it a glitch, but maybe for lack of better terms, just something that we had to learn through with self-service. If something is recategorized, or if it's the workflow has changed, it doesn't show up in the new end user's inbox. It doesn't show up as one of their work orders. They have to find it through a different way of digging. Fortunately, though, we were able to identify what that is, and we were able to come up with a workaround for that and a process for getting past that. So our goal is to try and be as responsive to self-service requests as we are with emails or phone calls throughout the day, and that's what we're working to utilize additional staff to help do that. So we'll be going through some training for that.
Can I just ask a quick point of clarification? Regarding the one individual that has that number of requests, is it a variety of requests or of different requests, or is it the repeat, or is it the same request?
No, it's a variety of multiple different requests that are coming in. But I just wanted to point out that we do have some users that are very heavy in it. The middle one around 53, that's one that has multiple of the same type of requests.
Got it. Thank you.
Steve, do you know what the current number of open requests that we have?
48 open as of this morning.
Are open as of this morning?
And I went through this morning and closed out a couple myself because they had missed them as they were going through and doing them. And there was some that I know the work was completed because there were some sand type work orders in there. So I went through and tried to clean some of those up also. And I think it was a good opportunity for me to kind of sit through it and learn exactly how all these are being handled. And I've seen it before, but to do them myself was very helpful. So.
And I know we're getting into a little bit of the weeds on this, but is it possible for, I know you mentioned as far as with uploading completion pictures and things that are in progress and that sort of thing, which definitely increases transparency because it's harder to argue at that point in time when something's being done. Is it possible to be able to empower maintenance staff in the field to be able to take those and put those in? Or is it something that always has to come back to someone here?
I think it's just the way the mobile app works. It's hard for them to do that in the field. It's a lot more user-friendly from the desktop to be able to do that stuff.
And may I interrupt and say that we're also working on a solution to have that be able to be done by someone other than the operations manager who needs to be out there supervising our major contracts. So we're hoping that there'll be a training class this week, and that you'll be able to see more pictures moving forward.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me personally, and I know the board and everyone discussed this before, is making sure that we're continuing to be responsive on the weekend. When you know, we decided as a board to make sure that we had someone here on Sundays, even though we kind of looked at the numbers and we were kind of like, well, I don't know if we really need to keep someone here on Sundays. But I think being able to have that resource available that's at least able to move into a receive status or able to dispatch someone if required, I think that's a good use of their time.
I agree, and that's something we're working towards. The other thing that we want to do is work on a communication piece for one of the upcoming newspapers, just to kind of educate the residents a little bit about what it does, how we prioritize, so that there's not an expectation that the minute a request is submitted that it's just going to be handled. I mean, there's multiple requests that are coming in. I think it's important for us to educate as much as we can on that.
And also, just for clarity too, the application does, issues that are submitted via the application are handled by more entities than just CROA. We have CDD in the mix. We have things that we forward on to the county. All sorts of different things. So I think that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. Susan's I'm gonna tag off to her for a second, and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I just had a question on the Food Truck Friday. Could we have someone available to help residents find the app? And I know it's easy for all you guys, but for someone just to find the app and maybe give them a quick 5-minute, or do we have maybe a video we could do this to help them? Because I've had a lot of questions. Well, how do you use it? How do you find the app? I just think it's a great venue to have that available.
I know we did it the first 2 food trucks after we implemented in the unveiling, and we can bring it back again. I think it would be a
refresher.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you talk about before I came in the third parties like CDD? So we're sending stuff over the CDD. And so my thing, and you might have discussed this, I apologize before I got here, is that there's going to be some things that are going to be sitting in there for a very long time. We don't control some things. So how do we set the expectation, because it's received or in progress? And we have a lot in progress. Some things are in progress that might be 4 months before. Do we want them to stay? And is it the expectation that it's going to stay in progress? So we'll have, I don't know what the number is now in progress, but we're going to have a lot more. The more we use it, it's going to be hundreds, because some things are being reported that we're not going to hit today, or we might not hit tomorrow. We may actually hit in 4 months, right? It's a paint chip on, I mean, I've seen some of those where, can you paint the bridge or something like that, and it's not on a maintenance schedule. It might not be for 3 months. We're not going to go out. So how do we set that? I don't, in progress, we're going to have a couple hundred. Can you put it, is there some other category to get it out of there?
I think for categorization of the status of the work order, there's set status levels, but we do have the flexibility that we expect to be completed by December, whatever. And then if December comes and we still don't have it completed, or the other entities that are using it don't have it completed, they can just provide another update saying, here's what's happening.
We're going to have hundreds then in progress, right? I mean, we're going to have 300 at some point. So it seems like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Well, for example, today I was with some residents answering some questions, and someone dropped off 4 ducks into the pond at Lake Evelyn. And so I went into the app, which I'm trying, but I couldn't figure out where to put ducks dropped into the pond. So of course I bothered Eric, and he took care of it. But the CDD, it clearly falls under them. But if we could have responded on that, or if there's an automatic, this is being sent to the CDD, blah, 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 at least they'll know we're not sitting on it.
Sure.
And of course Rosemary responded right away. She's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a wonderful app. There are some limitations though, and I think for the integrity of the app, in progress is just the status update on it of what it's called. There's some systems I think we can put in place as we manage it. So we know we can, I was playing with it again, like I said today, where you can filter. So I can go and look. Everything that's assigned to me, I can see by just hitting a click, these are completed. These are the ones that are in progress. These are the ones that have been submitted and I've received. So then I can develop work plans from that and say, okay, over the next 3 months, these are going to be taken care of. Over the next 6 months, these are going to be taken care of. And then just communicate that back to the app. And we can put, I'm sorry to interrupt, we can put some stock information in there that we can just click and it automatically would fill that in, so it doesn't take time of actually having.
But I think what we're saying is we're probably still going to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, right? So
And they're going to grow.
yeah,
Yeah, we have so many people.
And it's an aging infrastructure of our community, so I think we will see more and more. But
And I think too, the other thing to keep in mind, I mean, because this was a project that the communications committee started working on prior to me being even on the board, when we first started doing this. And I don't want to say we're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, but we are. We are kind of blazing new territory as a homeowners association using this application. This application is definitely more geared towards government entities that are managing this. A city that has public works department and all these different things, where they're really having to deal with just different departments, not completely different agencies. So I think that it's a growing process because we're kind of learning as we move forward with it. I think the biggest thing for me though, and I'll use the harassing example of the lights outside this building that I think was like the third or fourth thing ever reported on our app, that I nagged a lot on what was going on with it. And I think the thing that was helpful with it was totally acceptable to me as a resident that we hit a snag, that something went wrong or that we were working on it, as long as you told me about it. And I think that once we saw those updates that were something's broken or waiting on a part or this, that, and the other thing. And I know that it's, as Lee mentioned, as this list grows and grows and grows, it's going to be harder to provide that level of detail. But I think too, it's as you said, setting the correct level of expectation on things that are, I don't want to say are more routine maintenance, but things that might have a longer plan in place, like paint chipping or different things like that are not an immediate critical need. I think as long as there's an update posted for something like that once a month, or when, if you say it's going to be addressed in 3 months, if you hit that 3-month mark and it's not going to be addressed then, we just tell them about it. So I think it takes a little bit of homework and being able to set different reminders in the app and escalation rules and that sort of thing. So, but I think it's good. We already have one copycat community from what I hear too.
I know, there's been some CCMC managers throughout the United States that have reached out to me and asked how it's going and talked a little bit about some of the successes and some of the things that we tripped over a little bit.
But I would say that it's probably not any different than a municipality. No. Because they're going to have the same issues. They're going to have somebody send in a road, and they're not going to fix it either. So maybe we should talk to municipalities that use it and see, maybe they take it from received or in progress, and maybe if it's something that's 8 months, maybe they mark it as complete. Or they do something with it. There is no way that a road and bridge department has any different probably issues, and I'm wondering maybe they do something with it differently.
Yeah, I think when we were doing initial research on the app, one of the things that we discovered was that it was very easy for a city to mandate the different departments to at least everyone has to play in the same sandbox, for lack of a better term. But everyone had to, the road and bridge department, public works, the police department, public safety, they all had to have a login at some point in time. I think it's worked out great with the CDD. A tip, if it's going directly to the CDD and you're reporting something, they're the one with the giant legal disclaimer when you're reporting something. So that's a quick way to know if it's going to the CDD or not.
That's the government entity.
Yeah, so it gives the big legal disclaimer. But I think, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, those now just route directly to
it goes
CDD,
right to Rosemary,
and they're able to respond and follow up. So I think that's good. I doubt that we're ever going to get the county to participate at that sort of a level, but more and more, as we see the success with it, we had there was an incident that was reported about the bridge lights being out on 417 under the next to the library there. One of the users reported that, and CDD was like, well, we don't know, this needs to go to DOT. So they said, okay, and they had the residents say, can you reach out to the DOT? We said, okay. I emailed the DOT, and I emailed them the cell service URL request. I said, this is wrong. Got a response back from the DOT stating, this is really cool. I can see exactly where this is wrong. There's no question, because there's no address for the bridge, that you're trying to find out. But they could look directly on a map and find it. So I think the more that we kind of show other agencies kind of what we're doing, the more that they might be able to adopt into the system. So.
And I can tell you along those lines, I'm interacting with other community association managers. When I explain to them how we do these work orders, they're wowed by it right now. And it might not be perfect, but it's definitely the step in the right direction. So.
But maybe the software vendor, it might be a good opportunity to use it for a month, maybe two. Maybe it's a good opportunity to give them some feedback and get some best practices. And maybe they're changing the way, the software themselves, and maybe an opportunity to talk to the software vendor and say, we have the same issue here, and this is what we recommend.
Yeah, and when Patrick and I were talking about that, again, glitch that I used the term for, I asked him to send an enhancement request to the software companies, and that's how they grow the package and make it better. So we're working on this.
It is a subscription, so in other words, they want to keep us
right.
And they just were bought out.
Yeah, they were.
So they've expanded. Hopefully they keep the same high level of customer service that the smaller company has provided for us.
Any other questions on cell service? Yeah. All right.
Is it Davy time?
It's Davy time.
Okay, last month I reported that we had met with Davy, and I've actually started going, Todd's going out with Garth and their new quality control person on a bi-weekly basis. That quality control person was hired last week, and so they're just now in the process of really familiarizing them with. I will tell you, they've hired Scott's to fertilize and do everything for our lawns, and they are looking better. I'm inspecting a park a week is what I'm trying to do, just to look. Are the beds being edged? Are the tree rings defined? How does the grass look? And I will tell you that the grass is looking greener, especially it's not Long Meadow, it's Hippodrome. That's exactly where it is. It looks better. So there is progress. Is it the progress that we expected overnight? No, but this is a living, breathing thing, so I think it's going to take a little bit of time. We actually, Todd communicated with Garth last week on Friday, and we've asked him for a timeline, and I'm going to try and get that this Friday so that we have a timeline of those things that we're looking at and when we can expect to have them done. The other part to that is that many times they're out there and they see things. And in the weekly report that they give us, I'm asking that they let us know that, the tree over on Celebration Avenue near Market Street, that's probably not a good example of tree, but if it was our responsibility, hey, the canopy needs to be raised because it's a safety issue, to point those things out to us as the eyes of the landscaper out on our property. So I think that there is progress being made. Is it as fast as we had expected? No, but I think we're coming into the dormant season where it's not raining as much, so the weeds aren't going to grow as fast. So I think we'll see some marked changes in the coming month. And I hope to be able to email you the list of that just escaped my head. The timeline so that you can see it, and then I'll have something to follow up with as well as I go along. Questions?
Yeah, the pot's nice over at Spring Park.
Heritage Hall.
Yeah, the kids like standing on it and jumping off it. While the mothers are standing there.
And they're well secured, so they don't move.
So they're jumping on it and climb on it, so you can jump off and have fun.
And Steve, that area in front, I know you mentioned it's mulch.
What's going to
It's not supposed to be.
It's going to be sod.
It's going to be sod, but we put mulch there just because some mean board president kept yelling that there was dirt there, and he was upset about it, right?
They put mulch in because they're waiting for the sod with the rolled sod that they're getting for Spring Park.
One price for all. One shot deal.
I think the work that's been done now, and I know, Todd, this has been a big project to try to get it in line. I guess I'm really personally hoping to see a marked improvement quickly over the next month, especially now that we are entering the dormant season. The grass doesn't have to be mowed as much. So maybe that means that we can actually blow the grass clippings out of the mulch bed and look at that sort of stuff. I understand that we might be a little bit higher demanding of a community from a look and feel standpoint, but I think that that's what we contracted for. We want to make sure that that's being delivered as part of the contract. I've said it before and I'll say it again, not charging us for work that we wanted is just not acceptable, in my opinion, as an excuse. We have the money to pay for it, we want to pay for it, and if they're not interested in the business, then they're not interested in the business, and we need to find someone that is. So I guess I would just hope that we see an improvement quickly over the next month.
I will also tell you the overseeding is happening and they're running ahead of schedule on it, so.
It's because we sprayed all the weeds and they died, and we learned there was no grass.
Exactly right.
So,
Which will need to be addressed in the spring because when it goes dormant, it comes back out the same way. Once the rye goes away, it comes back out the same way. So we'll look at any areas that need replenishing and those types of things in the spring.
Gotcha.
And then ideally, you want that good, strong turf base going into dormant season so that, again, it pops with rye and then it pops again when it comes back out of dormant season. And then one last thing, we told you on a monthly basis we provide the Total Thriving members number. They had their launch, was it last week or the week before last, at the Bohemian Hotel, and they're up to 33 total Thriving members. And that's the end of our management.
any questions on the management report? All right, we'll move to the action items. Action item number 1 on the amended agenda is approval of the 2016 CJC, which stands for Celebration Joint Committee budget with total funding of $1,762,129 and no cents. See tab 1. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
All right, second? Second. And any discussion?
I have questions. I have some questions. They're on the CROA budget, but it affects the CJC budget, so do you want?
Yeah, that's fine.
Some are from residents and some are from me. So the first one, how is CROA invoiced for employee benefits?
What was your question, Debbie? I'm sorry, how is what?
How is CROA invoiced for employee benefits?
It's a payment for the whole package. It's the bill rate for the entire package. So it includes salary, benefits, everything that's part of it.
Is it a percentage of wages or does it include benefits?
I don't have the exact percentage. I can tell you it is to pay for the CAM licensed staff that we have on staff. It's to pay for the PCAM designations, the Certified Community Associate Manager, the Certified Parks and Rec Professional. So all of that stuff is part of that package.
Okay. But you don't know if it's just based on salary, if it includes salary plus benefits?
I don't have that breakdown.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is my first meeting, so I'm not doing this correctly. How many employees are there?
It's 40 altogether. It fluctuates based on seasonal. There's summer camp and depending on the number of students and lifeguards and those types of
It's
things.
1,700,000, that's over 40 employees. Is that what that is?
No, that's for the entire expense budget.
Right.
This
That's
is
just for
CJ, this is
That's just the-
this is for the Celebration Joint Committee,
The actual-
which is not the homeowner association.
Homeowner's budget's 6 point.
Yeah, there's different. So there's a joint committee, and then there's Celebration Non-Residential Owner Association, Celebration Residential Owner Association. So the homeowner association pays a portion of the CJC budget. So that's why we're approving the CJC budget. So there's a portion. So, for instance, the Celebration newsletter that you get in the mail is actually from the CJC, CJC Communications added that because it's non-res and the association. So we're paying 2/3 of that. Is that right? 75%. Yeah. So there's different associations. It's hard to understand. Sorry. Disney made it that way. So it's just different associations. So we're the Celebration Residential Owner Association. So we're approving the CJC budget, but they have to, CJC will be approving their budget too. So we pay a portion of that, so we're approving that. So.
Steve, can you get an answer to that at a later date?
Yeah,
or-
I'll email that.
My second question was, how do we determine how many billable hours and management personnel is devoted to service areas versus CROA? That's from a resident.
For service area, our service area manager keeps track of time. This is something that has just started happening recently, but it's approximately 80% of that person's time throughout the day. It's all billed to the same account.
Service area or towards CROA?
It's all billed to the same CROA account, and then it's replenished with the service area admin fees. So those service area admin fees offset.
So of the billable hours for that person, 80% is?
100% comes out of the same account. It's just, it's replenished with service area income.
Service area offsets the 80%.
Right.
So they keep track is what they're saying. Is so 100% of the hours of a service area's time of a person goes to the service area.
But how do we know for that person how much is CROA?
They're keeping track.
It's just
everybody's
So that employee's splitting out their time?
It's all paid through the same, but it's the same account line, the same expense account line that's being paid for. It's just all replenished back in by the service area admin fees.
It's 32 hours a week. About 4 out of 5 days is devoted to service areas. And so what we're saying is that the service areas are charged a fee. They have their service area fees, and I believe, and don't hold me to this, but it's about $17 per door per month. And so that money then offsets the salary, so that CROA is only paying for the 20%.
Right.
Kind of makes sense?
It's better, yes.
Sorry. Good job.
It's okay.
Another question from a resident. Would CCMC be open to revising the management fees so that they are earned based on an incentive schedule for efficiencies, not increasing labor cost?
I think that would be a question I'd have to bring the vice president in and talk to her about.
But that's also at a time when we're doing the management contract. And I think that some of these questions, it would have been better if you would have sent it to them beforehand.
She did.
Answers?
I did.
Yeah.
I sent them last week.
Did we get answers?
Some answers, but no, not really. Of course I sent them.
We provided answers this morning. They were actually sent Friday afternoon, and we provided answers this morning.
I got some answers this morning, but some we didn't have answers to. It's like, I can't answer that, or address senior management to address.
No, I'm just checking.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, you're getting an answer. I just want to make sure that for the next time, if we get them beforehand, it would be a lot better.
No.
But you've done it. So,
I did my best. Number 4, why did we give $2,530 to the community chorus and not to other entities? My answer was, I understand the community chorus is a town hall-sponsored group, and we fund their music for events for the community. All other organizations are civic organizations, and when I responded with that to the person, they came back and said, not all other organizations are civic. There's other community organizations.
Like what?
Yeah, the chorus is actually a Parks and Recreation program.
No, but this is in-house. This is a CROA run.
It's like aquatics.
Yeah, this is right.
We
This
pay
is
for
a
the
CROA
music.
run. So like the Veterans Club or something, or Girl Scouts or whatever is not CROA run. This is CROA run, like aquatics, like the
Summer breakout.
yeah, the Easter egg hunt.
The boards
They do this. Maybe they should. It is a CROA, right?
And the boards in the past have chosen to subsidize this program through that program and service account line. So it's part of the overall special events.
It came back, the question came back with this, we also, I guess that money, we have zero budget for volunteers. And that was something you had said you were working on, volunteers, but that's zero in the budget item, but we're giving $2,500 to the chorus. So Just wanted to know
Well, it
why
was-
we were working on it, but there was zero in the budget.
Yeah, it was the volunteer event line. I think it was just a line that was separated specifically for volunteer events, but we do have adult event line, and we have some money available in there for volunteer programs.
Okay. I asked about that, and that didn't come back for that, so we'll get to that in a second. Okay. Security service has increased to 36,000. So that's for park monitors, is that?
Can you ask that one more time?
610-6617. Is
It's
that-
increased by 36,000.
Yes, that's to increase the amount of hours for the park
Park
monitors.
monitors, okay.
It's an entire new body, it's not, when we discussed it in the budget workshop.
Right.
I just, no, I didn't get answers to this. So on the adult,
Is there something that you didn't get answered we can answer now?
yes. Was there anything budgeted for the History Center? And they said that you were going to create a historical society, but did that come under adult activities? or-
No, what I've been talking with Pam Shaw about is a separate volunteer entity of a historical society. I've worked with them in Seminole County. They have some city historical societies, and they're their own 501c3 group that can fundraise and do certain things to, and then actually own the history stuff for the town, and then they can get docents trained, they can do session plans on what type of materials are attained and how it's displayed and those types of things. So it was a thought, and it's something that we started working on, and it's something that I'd like to work with you on as we move forward.
Let's see. Oh, and the other one was property taxes. Why the increase in property taxes? It's normally been 12,300.
Because I think probably we're probably looking at it from last year to this year. It's probably a pass-through. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing is we have land now that we didn't have last year, and we're getting charged by the county.
Civic corridor.
We have the corridor.
It's corridor.
It was twice the
Spring
corridor.
communities and those types of things.
So just for the corridor and Spring Lake, it's doubling our tax
And
basis?
we contacted the county based on the
Yes.
property we had, and this was the estimate that we received.
So that's an estimate, it's not
And
the
then,
actual.
and the property taxes are based on what the rate that the county sets, and they typically set that in September, so I think they just set that.
We haven't received the invoice yet, but Susan Etter actually called them, and that's the number that they came back with us, to us, about.
It's their actual one.
Okay. And last question from a resident. They still have confusion on the contract about the payroll administration fees. Said the contract does say they were to be eliminated. However, they remember seeing another document saying they were to go up to 12% in 2014. They spoke to Tom Tucson, who signed the contract, and he feels that the payroll administration fee did not go away. Additionally, if you look at the financials for those years, you would have expected labor to decrease by a number close to 10%. The 10% fee in place for 2013, in fact, labor went up by 6%. So does it appear that we are still paying a payroll administration fee? Could someone at CMC get an answer for this?
I will, I'll email that to Pat as our vice president and get a response for that. I know that.
My question would be why, I mean, it was just done a different way.
Right.
That payroll would not have gone up from one year to another, gone down from one year to another year. In fact, it would have gone up because we tacked on, we had obviously another head count, some other stuff. So I think it's, the answer would be good to see about that, but there's no way that we would have expected payroll to go down though, from year to year, because we didn't cut any heads, we've added.
No, but I'm saying what they're saying is if they eliminate the management fee of 12%, you would have expected to be some decrease, and yet it went up by 6%. I think the problem with this post an individual's concern, and I share this, is I don't really understand what this fee is. I've gone through 850 pages of a detailed summary, I've gone through the budgets, and I really cannot, with a financial background, grasp what the fee is we're paying. And I think that that's a straight answer that they deserve to have as residents. But I hesitate approving a budget and voting for this without that. So I am going to vote it down or vote to continue it. And I don't know what you guys want to do. That's up to you. I would vote to table it, but
On the payroll item?
No, on the entire budget questions I haven't had an answer.
Okay.
First of all, I appreciate the questions. I would say I've gone through a lot of budgets and whenever I had questions, I made sure I got them answered before we actually voted the budget. And by the way, I don't think that some of those questions, especially the last one, because the way the administrative fee, it'd be nice to sometimes go back and revisit how it is so we're all educated, because it's a contract, and most people may not understand that they're not really, they're not our employees. We pay actually administrative fee for CCMC, a company that actually runs it. They don't work for the association. CCMC works for the association. The employees don't, you know what I mean? It's CCMC employees. So obviously there's...
But I've gone through the contract. I can't find that came from.
No, there's a lot in the contract that I probably don't completely understand. But so I think that your questions are probably right. We should, if you have a question, we should get it answered and get it understood. It's just, I wish it would have been not the night that we vote on it, because...
Well, I tried asking before. Steve wasn't available.
Yeah.
Susan did great.
But I think that the questions that you've asked, though, to me, and I think the questions that you asked to me, that last one, let's say, is it's not going to stop me from voting on it, because those type of things are in the contract. So if we're not following the contract, then we go back and we look, we look for it. It's not a budget question. It's more education question, I think, which is a great question that
But I mean,
we should
can you
know.
wild idea what we pay with?
Well, I think we have it in the budget what we pay, but it's broken down into many different things. So there's a salary line item, there's administrative fee, there's a bunch of things, and then in fact they get money off of some other things that they do in the back of the office too. So there's multiple ways. We just have to make sure that that they're taking the right amount. You know what I mean? And you may bring up a good point, but that probably wouldn't stop me from voting on this, because I think that's less of a budget issue and more of a, let's double check that we're following the contract.
Yeah, it's just it's a $6 million budget, and I'd like to understand what I'm voting on, and I haven't got the answers, and I apologize that some of the residents got them to me last week, but it was...
But let me ask this then, on your behalf then, what is the implications of not approving the budget this meeting and when we go for the next meeting or something like that?
Right. This is the time frame within the contract of 90 days to have the budget brought to you guys. You do have 90 days to approve a budget. For us to be able to get all the paperwork done, get everything done through CCMC to get it all sent out, because there's multiple communities throughout CCMC. This is the time frame that we're looking at to be able to do that. So if we approved it tonight, we move along and we meet those requirements based on contract and their statutory requirements also for getting the budget out. Now, if it's not approved as of the end of this year, you continue utilizing the budget that you have now.
So
I'm just saying a month, not the end of the year.
So you're saying that it's just harder paperwork, or we're not flowing with the rest of CCMC with the paperwork, so it won't kill us is really what I'm
Well,
right?
I will tell you my history has been that typically October 31st is the deadline, so that we have time to get the coupons out to the owners, because what happens is if we delay a month, then we've got coupons going out to the owners in the holiday rush, and they get lost and people don't make their payments. So the goal is always to get those out the first week, maybe 2 weeks of December, so that the owners don't lose sight of things with the holiday rush. So it just means that your owners may not pay on time, so they'll be, they'll get intent to liens, and the other part to that is you may have to wait a little bit for your money. So that's...
I think that in the years we've done this before, is that I think if a board member had an issue, we've kind of held it off into the next, it sounds to me that it won't kill us if we hold off and get the information. I'm not saying, this is just, speaking out loud and trying to move this around, is that it's not going to stop anything. It's like you said, maybe some people won't pay. You're trying to beat the holidays. The perfect time would be now.
Our annual assessments won't change. We will still pay our bill. We just have questions that need to be answered. They're not changing the figures in the budget, this $6.8 million budget. They're just changing some of the questions we have about it. The dues remain the same. The bills can go out. There's not an issue with the bill going out.
Well, they can't go out.
And we have to send the approved budget.
I don't see where we're going to gain anything by this delaying this. If anything, you ask for an adjustment later in the year.
Right.
But if anything, I don't think there's a problem with the budget.
So we've done it later.
Can I make a comment?
I'm sorry.
We've gone through this sort of thing in other associations,
and use the board, all you need to do is to say, please get the coupons books so that you can send them out and then deal with.
Right, well, that's not, I agree, that's not my issue. I'm not too worried about that. We've actually done this later in the history of the association than now, you know what I mean? So for me, if a board member is uncomfortable with it and I could delay a month and it's not going to kill us and get all the questions you have answered, I'm not against that at all, so.
So just for clarity, we're on action item number 1, approval of 2016 CJC budget with total funding of $1,762,000 and 129, whatever, you know what I was trying to say.
Yes.
We have a motion, we have a second, we're having discussion about it.
And this would affect items 1 and 2. I mean, but we
Well,
could do a
well,
separate-
also what would happen if I had a discussion, there's a CJC meeting planned, the CJC was going to vote on this. So what would happen probably if we don't approve this or don't, the CJC would probably end up voting on it anyway and then waiting for us, obviously, for the opposite.
So we've had a motion, a second, and discussion. So
who made the motion? So I think the only thing for you is to ask. Well, you can make another motion to table, and if that.
We got the motion to table, right?
You have to vote on
We
the
have to
first
vote on the first motion.
Yeah. But you could ask Jack to withdraw his motion if he's interested in it. That might be better, you know. And if not, then we'll end up having to vote on it.
No.
All right, so all those in favor for action item number 1? Aye. Opposed?
Yay.
Okay, so just for clarity, we had Debbie is nay, right, correct? And everyone else for action item number 1. So the motion carries.
Right. I voted yes, but I wanted to table it if it's. What's that?
Let's go.
Approval, action item number 2, approval of 2016 CROA budget, which is Celebration Residential Owners Association, with annual assessments remaining at $911.40. This is tab 2. Do I have a motion?
Motion to table?
So moved. Okay, hang on. We have 2 motions.
I didn't hear the first, but
I second Debbie's motion.
What was it?
I think Eric read the motion, and then Dave moved for that motion that Eric read.
To approve the 9/11.
The action.
Right. Okay, so is there a second for Dave's motion?
I'll second it.
All right, discussion for action item number 2.
I think he's going to come up with the same answer, or the same thing, but she got a second to her motion before Dave got a second to his motion.
But the way it's read, though, Eric reads the action item, and the motion was made on that action item, and then it was seconded. So that becomes the motion that's on the floor.
Right.
I think he's going to come up with the same answer anyway. Nobody. I don't think anybody else. I think.
Talk about this all night.
The temperature of the board obviously is to approve it. So,
yeah. Any further discussion for action item number 2? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
nay.
All right, so we have the 1 nay. Action item number 3, approval of the Celebration Parks and Recreation Master Plan as recommended by the Master Plan Task Force, tab 3. Do I have a motion?
So move.
And second. All right, and discussion. Just so that, for folks that downloaded this in advance or have participated in the Master Recreation Planning Workshops, which there's some board members on here that have sat in on as well, there's an overall plan for, we keep getting the question over and over, well, what are you going to do with all this money that you're collecting now for capital improvements, for the Capital Improvement Fund? This is what we're doing with it. Quite simply. So it's one of the things that the board had identified previously was making sure that we stay up to date with neighboring communities and other things. Reserve funding, for the most part, is used exactly for what it intends to do, which is maintain what we currently have. So it's sometimes hard to upgrade and enhance amenities beyond what they currently are budgeted for in the reserve budget. Jack, Debbie, Lee, I know you guys had said on a lot of those things. I don't know if you guys want to comment further on.
I think it's great. We had a couple other people in the audience that spent some time on there too. I think it's a good document. We have a plan. It's a good process for us to follow. I mean, if you look at what town hall staff did, put together a great document that we could look at for a little while. So I'm kind of happy to see it in color.
And just for clarity too, so that everyone knows, what the board, the motion this evening that we're now discussing is the plan itself. So we're not actually spending any money at this current moment. Each individual project would then obviously be bid out and come back to the board for approval and then discussion at that time. So it's not a blank check, in other words, at that point. But this is just signifying that we kind of take the recommendation of the task force and then execute against that plan. Any further discussion on it? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries. Action item number 4, approval of the proposal from Hanson, Walters & Associates to perform the civil engineering, design, permitting, and construction administration for the dog park in the amount of $57,170 and no cents. This is a CROA reserve expense. This is on tab 4. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Question, sorry. This is a reserve expense?
This is the working capital reserve expense.
Working capital. Okay, all right.
So we have do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and Jack seconded. Any discussion?
I think we talked about this at the workshop.
Yeah, so this was, just in summary, Debbie did a lot of hard work to try to bring it's a big number. And one of the things that was identified with it was that it's hard to be able to build or bid on a project if we don't necessarily have the firm engineering for someone to actually bid against. Originally, we were going down more of a turnkey approach, but when we saw the numbers that kind of came back at, we wanted to kind of manage it a little bit more closely to try to figure that out. So that's what this is doing here.
Eric, can I also point out that this is a perfect example of what you were just saying with the master plan transitioning into the board then approving these items. So if you look at the 2016 projects, the dog park is one of those projects. You'll see tennis courts a little bit later in the agenda. But this is an example of what we'll be doing throughout the master plan. So while it's a plan, that plan can change throughout the years, but we'll bring each item back for the board to approve, and then we'll start working on those items.
Any further discussion? No. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries. Action item number 5, approval of the proposal from Danny Bumpus to represent the owners of Celebration in the construction of the dog park. This is a CROA capital expenditure.
So moved.
Second. Reserve expense?
It's a working capital.
No, that's working.
Oh, darn. I was trying there for you, Lee. I was trying.
All right, it's working.
Technically, it's not wrong, but it's working capital.
It's not
to be in the right.
I will make sure I clarify that in the future.
Because there are no reserves for this, real reserves.
You watch me, Rachel.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
All right, so Debbie has a motion. Is there a second?
I did, second.
All right, second. Discussion.
Thanks. We could use the help. Appreciate it.
Yeah, this is for help with design, and then help with overseeing the construction, and then helping with the bidding of the design also. So if this is the pleasure of the board moving forward, this same process will then take place for the other part of the civic corridor. Once we get this up and running, we can start.
Is this your recommendation too? I mean, this is...
I think this is the pleasure of the board. I think this is, based on the conversation, this is the direction the board would like us to go, so we're going to move in that direction.
Okay, you're right. Good, we're good to
go. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Action item number 6, approval of the second amendment to the supplemental declaration for Spring Lake single-family units. This is tab 6. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And second? Second. All right, discussion. I think if we could get a little elaboration on what this is.
Why? What's the purpose? Why are we doing this?
Every single one of our service areas, this is how it gets formally established with our documents. So that's all it is. It's pretty standard when it comes to associations, and you'll see this is for the single family units. The next one will be for the multifamily units as well.
So this is essentially how we take them into the association.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
And it's typical you've done it with the other phases there.
Gotcha. Any discussion? No. All right, let's welcome them to the family. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Similar, action item number 7, approval of the second amendment to the supplemental declaration for Spring Lake multifamily units. This is tab 7. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
All right, discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Welcome to the family. Approval of the Spring Lake at Celebration Phase 3, release of vacation of easement, tab 8.
I'm assuming that was, oh, I'm sorry.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? Second. All right, discussion.
I'm assuming that was because we had to give them the easement in order to do all their construction and everything, and now we're just removing it.
Yeah, you just did it for phase 2 on the wall, and now you're doing the same thing for phase 3.
Gotcha. All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Action item number 9, approval of the expenditure as recommended by the Artisan Park Service Area Committee to purchase new patio and pool furniture in the amount of sorry, I was seeing stuff, $25,011.36. This is an Artisan Park Reserve expense. This is tab 9. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Second. All right, discussion. Come on, Lee.
As you can see, their committee has already approved it.
Jack told me he's elbowing me under the table.
So just for folks that don't know, I'll let everyone on the inside joke here. What it is Artisan Park Service Area obviously has their own committee, their own budget that they manage, but they sit underneath CROA. So essentially, we have to authorize their payment that they've already authorized.
And the only way we can say no is like not happening.
Yeah.
We can't, there has to be a really extreme circumstance as to why we would say no.
Right.
Or not approve it.
Not approve it.
They also assess their owners an additional amount to live in Artisan Park, and they have exclusive rights to the club, and that's where it all comes from.
They've been honoring their fiduciary responsibility. They've been tucking the money away in the reserve account. They've done it.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Action item number 10, approval of the expenditure as recommended by the Artisan Park Service Area Committee. Florida POS, which stands for Point of Sale, software in the amount of $6,919.99, plus a $2,000 and no cent reserve expenditure for L3 Electronics to upgrade the non-compliant hardware. This is an Artisan Park Reserve expense. Tab 10. Do I have a motion?
Motion. I only looked at this today. I can tell you, though, that just how sometimes Eric would give you advice on the IT infrastructure and saving money, I honestly, yeah. But it's their own.
What's your concern?
No, I have no concern. I just think that there's different and better and different. I mean,
just for a little backstory to this, though, they have to upgrade some of their hardware because what they have with their newer operating system or system that they're utilizing, POS system, is non-compliant. Right. So they're taking advantage of the opportunity to be able to have some wire pool. You can do that now. They can bring it to your table, which you see it at a lot of restaurants nowadays, the mobile pay technology.
Still, they didn't. I think there's better, cheaper. You know,
it's inexpensive for a POS system.
And also, it's Anyway, but I'll whatever. I mean, what I'll do is I'll actually contact them afterwards and give them some advice on some stuff. But anyway, it is theirs, and it's not crazy and outrageous, but wouldn't be my top pick.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All the
Second.
Second.
Oh, second. Second. Now we're on discussion.
Did Lee get that? Second?
That's fine.
Okay.
Did they get
We jumped in before the second was made.
I think they did actually.
I do.
Does it on purpose?
Yeah, because I remember reading.
Because sometimes you get it to where
This actually got 6.
Should have been politics.
But some people don't. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Rachel, did you get all that? Okay, perfect. So, in the packet, yeah.
Only one been
11, action item 11, approval of the expenditure to purchase replacement salt cells for the pools at Lakeside and Spring Park for $7,189.36 and $5,968.03 respectively. This is a CROA reserve expense. This is tab 11. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
All right, and discussion, this is...
It's not an operating expense?
Oh, yeah.
I only see one bid.
It's operating expense, isn't it?
Sand.
It should be operating expense, yes?
Same.
Yeah. It's just,
It's replacement of something.
Yes,
It is reserved.
It's operating. No, it's reserved. Okay, I'm getting that it is in the
Yes.
reserves.
it is.
Yes. We can't hear your head rattling there, Todd.
So,
Well, and for the millions watching at home, I gotta make sure they know.
Spendable item.
for the one watching at home right now, which is me streaming it live. Oh, there's two? Oh, the analytics are wrong, you know, so, but anyway, sorry. Another glitch.
According to the reserve study, they are a reserve item.
Okay.
So-
So it's in the reserve study, that's fine. Good.
Go for it.
Good.
Defer to Todd.
It's good that we have the reserve study.
Just, and so for clarity too, and I'm not a pool expert by any stretch of the imagination, but the salt cell is not something that it's not like a chlorinator where we're putting more chlorine in it all the time. It's something that just eventually poops out and we have to replace it. So it's
Todd has explained this to me, so Todd, you correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, go ahead. You're the expert.
Like a water softener.
According to CROA King, their systems last 15,000 hours, and after that, they don't work anymore. So, which is about 2 years worth, a little over 2 years. That can be expected. There are only two pools: a Spring Lake and Spring Park and Lakeside.
Gotcha. Okay.
One question.
Gotcha. Yeah, discussion.
Did you get other bids?
No, we use a CES. I did reference CROA King's websites, and the price from CES is less than what CROA King is advertising from the manufacturer.
And who's that? The other person you referenced?
CES is our.
No, I know them, but the other company you referenced was?
CROA King is the manufacturer of the salt systems that we utilize.
So you're getting these
It
cheaper
is.
than what the
It is.
manufacturer referenced, but is there anyone else that supplies it?
No.
It's a proprietary.
So it's proprietary?
It is.
Salt and water.
It is.
Well, it's not salt, we're not replacing the salt, we're replacing the thing that's actually distributed.
Right, there's salt water, the salt cells convert the chlorine, the salt to chlorine is the purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way too high tech.
I'm right there.
It is much less expensive than having liquid chlorine on site.
Gotcha.
And it's better storage, right?
Yeah, no storage.
Cool. Any other questions? No. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion carries. 12, approval of homeowner request for September. This is task 12, but we have, do we have new ones? No. This is homeowners.
Yeah.
Keep me honest, guys. Come on.
2 pages worth, yeah. Are we doing them all at one time, or?
I moved to approve both pages.
There's one.
Well, there's two separate pages. So the first one is a homeowner who's requesting to pay their entire balance.
They want a reduction in their balance.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
And then,
No, that's not a reduction. This one wants to pay the whole balance.
I'm sorry.
And the other two want to waive the late fees or interest of $31 and $32.
And I move to approve as they're listed.
Yeah, we're talking,
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I
Second.
didn't hear what the motion was, I'm sorry.
So, motion to approve. So we're now in discussion. So I have a dumb question.
No, dumb questions.
So, only inquisitive idiots like myself. That's the problem here. The balance is $1,076.41, and they're paying $1,076.41?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
They don't want to go to the attorney.
Right.
They're trying to.
Pay it off
They're paying
before.
it by-
They're trying to get it
Before
paid
they get
off.
legal fees.
Trying to do it by 12:30.
okay. I see what, okay, I got it now.
11:30.
We're 11:30, gotcha. I see what we're doing now. Okay.
Versus being due right now.
It's too simple.
Right, yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's too simple. I was like, there's no change here. Okay, all right, perfect. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Action item 13, the second part, sorry.
I move to approve both.
Two late fees, right? And they're paid, and other than that, they're paid in full.
Right. So second on
So this is just the late fees, correct?
Right.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Yes.
A second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Now 13, approval of the installation of lighting at the tennis court from the NIDY or NIDY company in the amount of $27,895 and no cents. This is a CROA reserve expense. I assume that's CROA capital reserve expense, correct?
Yeah.
Working capital reserve expense. Do I have a motion?
So,
And a second?
Second.
All right, discussion.
Do we have more than one bid?
Well, this is 90 that did the lights there, the existing lights that are on the tennis court to get the consistent look and feel. It has to be the same company. They all kind of have their own design for how they do their lights. When I first got here, I asked Musco to come up and take a look at it, and Musco's completely changes the look and feel, so you won't have that uniformity that you would if you just put up what you already have. So it will look
So there's
exactly.
only one person that puts up that style of light?
Yeah, that's what they have. They build those lights. Naughty did all the other lights out there.
They build them in-house, or?
They have their own design for their box and how they do their metal halide.
No, I mean, do they order them, or do they build them in-house?
Oh, I don't know.
Do I just mean that no one else can get the light, or it's just 27,000?
There's the best kind of lighting companies. There's the Musco, there's the 90 does these, there's another company that does lights, but these guys are the ones that did the lights that we have now. Musco can't even provide those lights. When I asked them to come out, they said, we don't even make that kind.
so we're trying to get it consistent.
I wanted to look the same as the existing tennis court lights at Lakeside Park that have already been approved through ARC.
And what's the time frame?
I'd have to get back to them on how quickly they can get it up. They're going to have to close down for a couple of weeks while they install the lights. Are you talking about how soon can they get them in?
Yeah,
They can
I'm
get them in by the
looking
end of the
for
year.
Construction plan.
By the end of the year, they can have them in.
I think that's, one reason I asked is some events going on, obviously, and I just want to make sure we're managing that process so it's not going on during some of the different things. If they're going to bring a construction trailer, it's, during the a food event, I'm concerned that we might lose some parking, I just want to manage that.
How long was that we're resurfacing these?
To Jack's comment that he said too, this isn't just lighting, this is also, we're repairing the court.
Well, they're resurfacing the section of the court that they'll damage as they do the lights.
Okay, yeah, all right.
They're not resurfacing the entire.
So my question is metal halide bulbs, you know where I'm going?
I do.
Is not really the best industry standard now.
Well, metal halide is still pretty commonly used because of the expense behind it. LED is getting better. It's still a little bit more costly. The only concern I have with putting LED on now as opposed to just doing them all at the same time is, you're going to have a different feel of play because it has a whole different foot candle measurement from LED as opposed to the metal halide. So again, if you put the metal halide in and then we work through the LED transition for all the lights, they can take the existing balances and work them with the LED.
But it would look different for the tennis court, the one, actually, it's the closest one, right?
Right, closest to the building.
Yeah, it's the closest to
But it's almost not like a paint color of a house where you're looking at the corner at the same, you know what I mean?
It's a color temperature.
You're just going to see a different
So to Eric's point, why wouldn't we start out with the best from day one and then have a process to change later? Because it's not going to look ugly, but it's going to save us,
a lot of money.
I assume it's going to save us some money, right?
Well, that saves a lot. LEDs are a lot cheaper.
No, they are over a certain amount of time. We don't have enough data to show what that is yet because we don't have LED sports
Well, we're not
recreation.
going anywhere, are we?
No, but the question, Debbie, is will we save money now? It's $42,000 to do the LED, and that quote's in here also. So if you chose to do the LED now, you could pay the $42,000.
What's the payoff?
It's $12,000.
What's the
6 years?
Yeah,
What's the payoff?
I don't know that. That's what I'm saying. I don't know when your cost recovery would be for your savings.
No, I mean, do they sell these things? They'll usually give you a payoff. It's a big difference though.
Yeah, it's $12,000 difference.
So, how long the lights? I mean, I don't know the business. So.
LED's more efficient when it comes to turning on and off. There's no warm-up time. You will realize an energy savings. I just don't know.
So I have a dumb question. Do we pay metered electric at that site?
We do.
Yes.
Okay.
We do.
but that one tennis court isn't going to be on its own meter. It's gonna
No, right, I realize that, I know sometimes we pay, I know sometimes we pay flat rate, or some places can.
So the reasons for not doing it would be increased cost, and the second thing was it will look different than the other lights, which.
The uniformity.
But they're not close. I mean, you're a tennis player, so you're not close to each other. It's not like you're going to notice that or.
We'll be
right?
close to the smaller court, but the ones that are by the Marisol will be totally, you won't be able to see the difference. But.
Yeah, and it's less spill, I think, with the LED also, overall. As a tennis player, I would probably want to play on the LED lighting. You're going to have a higher foot candle reading, which is better for the recreational play. But overall, it's not going to be horrible. It's just a different type of look and feel to it.
I'm actually more concerned about the tennis courts being closed down for the repair.
And that's a necessary evil, I think, that you have to get them up and running. But it increases playability and gets us.
I guess the question that I have is that, and the problem that I have with this action item is that on every single other facility in the community, we've been switching everything to LED, even though it's more expensive. For energy savings reasons, as well as, quite honestly, they last a lot longer, so we don't have to replace the stupid bulb. What I would have loved to see is a cost for. Well, let me ask you, Vanessa. Does it matter if one tennis court has a different color temperature light than the other? I know it looks tacky, but
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that you would. I don't think you would notice a difference because of the way that the courts are. You have the two that are closest to the pool, which are the ones that we're talking about that are currently online.
And the rest are around the corner.
Well, then you have the smaller one that's off to, it's on the other side. There's like a little walkway that's right there. That's just a single court.
Yeah.
And then you have the other two that are back over by Marisol, which is you can't even see you can't even see those two along with the other. The only one that would look different, actually the one that would look different would be the older one, the one court.
If you took a picture of them side by side, you can definitely tell the difference between the metal halide and the LED.
Oh yeah,
From the playing experience, it's probably a little bit better to play in the LED.
But if we're going to change it at some point, I mean, if we talk long term, we're only going to change it when the other ones, when a light goes out, you would probably recommend changing to LED down.
Probably a battery at a time.
Right. So it's going to be. If the next light goes out, and we don't control which lights go out, you're going to recommend it's going to look different than the one next to it.
Either that, or we bring a package back next year that says this is what it would cost to just do them.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would, to your point, it wouldn't kill us to go with the LED now and then transition the rest of them out.
Right.
I like that idea.
So first off, I need to see better data if you're talking about going to LEDs. I mean, I've got them all in my house right now, but I don't think they're going to last 20 years.
But LED sports last.
They've been out 20 years.
And that's what my problem is. I don't believe we're going to get the years out of it you think you're going to get out of it, and I don't think you're going to get the savings out of it that you think you're going to get out of it. So I'd like to have better data if you're going to try to transition over there. Otherwise, I'd rather go with the cheaper lights.
Well, I think at the end of the day, you don't want to spend more if it doesn't in the long run.
Exactly.
You know, it's a lot of good saying you're going to save energy if it doesn't.
The data is not there available for us to make that decision.
No, I think the data is available. They'll probably, there is a cost-benefit analysis.
No.
These lighting companies will literally tell you these things.
Yeah, based on our usage or their usage?
Based on acceptable usage on a tennis court. They know how much it costs. They know, they know how long it lasts. And we could ask that question.
We can. I mean, if the board would be more comfortable tabling it to next month, it would just push this back a month, and I can get some information.
So again, another dumb question here is, do we have the money if we wanted to do the LED lighting in the?
We have 1 point. Yeah, this is coming out of that working capital, $1.2 million, approximately 1.2 million.
Okay.
So you have, and it's part of the master plan. It's part of that chunk of money that you were going to spend this year.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think if we're moving towards the LED, I don't know that I would make the command decision and switch all of them to LED. I don't think that's necessary.
Unless somebody tells me it's data.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, that's why I wouldn't switch.
But as far as whether we go to LED now or just go with what's already recommended, I think financially we can afford to do the 42. It's just a matter of if that extra $12,000, if he thinks that it will get it back.
So who made the motion?
I probably did.
Okay.
Dave and Jack.
I unmove it.
Good. Okay, so I would like to make the motion to table this action item until the following meeting with requests to the management company to find out not only what the anticipated payoff is for
Return on investment of when you.
for that, as well as a if there is a reduced price for a package of replacing all of them at the same time. So 2 separate bids. And since we are changing the luminary themselves, if there is the opportunity to have an outside vendor, even if we can get an outside vendor that rebids on all of the fixtures.
We can get up 3 bids to redo all with LED. And there's going to be
But then you're
different.
rebidding the fixtures too.
You are.
Right.
You're going to rebid everything, and there's going to be a difference in cost. But when I took a class at FRPA over the summer on LED lighting, and Musco's the industry leader in sports lighting and LED lighting, and there's different types of lighting, different type of balances, different types of shields on how they direct the lighting. I mean, you can pay for the Cadillac lighting, and you'll only see those lights on that court. You won't see any bleeding anywhere else. I mean, it's amazing what they've come to.
I'd like the Ford Focus.
So, yeah, that's it. And that's probably closer to what you're going to get with a 90.
I don't want the Dodge Dart, but I want the Focus. It's a little kind of in that mid-range, kind of thing. So, do I have a second for my long motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I think also the timing of getting this done, because maybe to Vanessa's point before, if we're gonna, the court won't be used for a certain period of time, but if we can time that, not period of time being used, that would be really good. And if we need to speed this up, we can always email, you know what I mean? If there's,
Well, I do know that there are games that are already scheduled by the tennis team, and as well as the men's too.
To play in the lights?
To play, no, just during the day, which, because you would have to close it down, period, for the time period, yeah. So just maybe try and reach out, because I don't know how it'll affect the men and the women, because you have the seniors will be playing too. It's not just the.
but could we, if we're doing it, say, over a period of time, that maybe the school's closed, maybe we fix the school court, get that going, or maybe there's some way you can handle it.
We can look at that.
Yeah.
The other, I want to make sure my point, I don't know if I was clear on this or not, but it's going to be hard to do apples to apples bids for lighting, because everybody does. If you go with a reputable LED sports lighting company, you're going to have different types of
How
lighting.
about a recommendation from staff? We don't have to go through this.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you, right,
If you're really
to
good
buy
at it.
something that will last and that will be really good.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. 14, approval of replenishment of the sand at the volleyball court from Davy in the amount of $4,082.00. This is a CROA operating expense.
Which volleyball court, I'm sorry?
There's only one.
Wait, there's only one. Northfield? Oh, I thought there was one in Artisan Park too.
No, they set one on the field out there.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? All right, discussion.
Discussion, yes.
I did.
Go ahead.
Debbie,
I
Arno,
motioned,
Vanessa,
Debbie
and Debbie seconded. And now we're on discussion.
Discussion. So, I know this is sand for the volleyball court, but while we are getting sand, and we have a loader and transport for the sand, the 50 cubic yards of sand.
Yeah.
I went by Long Meadow this morning and spent about a half an hour speaking to the maintenance person and Todd. There's one area of the 3 sand areas in Long Meadow that is so low that it will fail the HIC test, the drop test, if we don't put some sand in there. I also checked, and the last replenishment of sand I can find is 7 years ago. Can we, while we are getting sand and we have a loader and we're spending $4,000, get a little extra sand from Davy and at least replenish that one area or other areas in Long Meadow, so if we do a HIC test, it won't fail, so that we can possibly keep the sand in the Long Meadow area? Because I don't want to just do a test that's going to fail because you can visibly see, and I think Todd can speak to that it was low.
Yeah, if it's low and there's compaction, you're probably right. It's gonna fail that heat test.
Can we
bump
I'm surprised we've done it in 7 years. If you remember last meeting, we were handed a piece of paper from a resident, and it discussed best practices, and one of it was changing the sand.
Right.
And I mean, I was surprised. I'm surprised we even did it 7 years ago. Yeah. But which is good. But maybe it's something we need to do.
I mean, I'd like to replace it all with new sand, but at least let's
Until
pull
we
it up
know-
to the level where we'll pass the test.
Yeah, I think that's premature until we know what's going to do.
Replace the sand, if it's, I mean, a holy volleyball court's gonna only be 4,000. How much is it to throw in the long meadow? It's not that.
It's about
big.
2,400.
Can I take it a different tack? Sure. The HIC test is basically to see how safe it is. If we're saying that we're not sure that we're going to pass this test because we need to add sand, I don't think it's the point of passing the HIC test. It's we need to add sand because it's not safe. It's really, that's what we need to do. Because, so...
Adding sand is not going to make it more dangerous.
Correct.
Yeah.
As long as we're using the proper kind of sand that does not contain glass silica.
Right.
I'll put that out there. See, we do research on our sand. So,
Can I just ask real quick, since Todd is here, with the Long Meadow area, because it's so much smaller than the volleyball court, are we looking at 10 cubic yards of sand for the whole Long Meadow? To replace, I have no idea.
it's like $2,000, right? I think
I
that's
mean,
what it
it'd be
was.
less than volleyball court, right?
But the question though that I have to my silica comment
Yes.
is the volleyball sand playground safe? There's different kinds of
I
sand.
don't know. That's a good question, but
It's a different purpose.
It's a different purpose sand. I know we're in the weeds now, but
we are in the weeds.
but
It's a good
there's
question.
two different types of sand. So
We should find out what kind of sand it is.
so do we want to?
Approve it if it is playground safe.
What I would say is, do we want to add a motion after we can do it as 819 if we want to, if we wanted to approve sand, additional sand.
Wait,
No, it's not on the agenda.
Let me say something.
You can add items.
I would say something that it shouldn't be on the agenda, because if we don't have sand in a certain area that isn't, because it's not safe, we should have added it. It shouldn't be a board discussion. We shouldn't be discussing this up here. This should be between you guys and just get it done. If it's not safe, then tell us you spent it and we're done. Because we shouldn't be the ones deciding on the safety of the sand.
And I can give
we
you my
shouldn't be
best
discussing.
guess on what it will look at. I don't know until a HIC test is done. I don't have those credentials to do a HIC test. So the question is, do you want to invest more sand if you're going to replace that surface with something else? Or do you want to continue along that? So, and that's what we ask you guys as a board. That's
But my thing is, if you think it's safe, if you think it's unsafe and you think it's unsafe, right? I hope you won't come to the board to ask for sand.
No, we would replace it with what needs, or close it down.
So if you don't think we need sand, then don't. If you don't think it's safe, I'm not sure.
I don't think that's the question, though. I think what we're saying is that do you want to invest more money in sand if you're going to be taking sand out? If you're going to be tearing it all
Yes, I want to put some more sand in there. We're already investing $4,000. It's going to be maybe a couple $100 worth of sand. We've got a truck. We have Davey. They'll drive by there on the way home, dump some sand in.
Well, I think the estimate was 2,000.
Yeah, for the sand. But I'm just saying that's for all of the volleyball court.
That's what Long Meadow was 2,000.
It may have to be different sand.
Estimation for all of that.
Right. Terry's point might have to be different sand.
If it is the same playground certified sand, and we're voting, and I hope it would be, or we wouldn't put in the volleyball court because kids play in there too. Can we change this to the motion to add more sand for Long Meadow if it's a certified playground sand? Jack?
But I guess I'm confused because, Debbie, just a second.
Yeah.
My understanding is, though, we had the estimate for Long Meadow Park from Davey, correct? And it was $2,400 to replace the sand. Is that accurate or not accurate?
This is a proposal that I was just handed yet, so
Right.
I'm able to get that.
Okay.
And
so that would be so you're talking about not just $2,400, but you're talking about basically $5,000. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's $4,000 for the volleyball,
So
and then an
it's
additional 24 for the.
Okay, right. So you're talking. Okay.
So, and the other thing too was the.
I was just looking at the actual
speed
sand
at which we were going to get Long Meadow tested, because it was my understanding that we were possibly going to get that done this week.
Right, and that's what I've asked to have.
But I don't want to test it before.
Expedited trying to do it this week.
That would be counterproductive. I think we should get the sand as soon as possible, whether we replace all the sand or just add enough sand to make it safe. At least get some sand in there. If you want new sand or just add sand, I don't care, that's up to you guys. I just want more sand in there.
My concern, and this is talking out loud, is does town hall staff think it's unsafe? If they think it's unsafe, then just get sand and don't talk to us. That's really it. If you don't think you need sand, it's unsafe, then don't get sand.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's their job, the maintenance.
I think there's some work that we're going to do around those areas before the test. I didn't think we were going to put $2,400 worth of sand in that area, but I know we were going to rate and spruce it up a little bit. So I can talk to Todd about if there's any additional sand that we need to put in there.
Okay.
And we can make that happen.
It's clear we need additional sand, particularly in that one area. Can I just ask, will that be done as soon as possible?
That's something that we can work on.
Within 5 business days?
Yeah, well,
Can
I'd
we
have to defer to
Get
how
sand in
long
5
it would
business
take to
days?
get them in.
I can go to Home Depot if we need to. Can we get sand? 5 days.
Okay.
Yes? Is that soon?
All I'm saying is what I don't
I
want to do is I don't want to be the judge
agree.
of safety in the surface of sand. I mean,
And I'm okay with failing the test.
I'm not okay with failing the test. I want sand there as soon as possible.
Kids
Turns or no
are,
test.
kids are actively playing on the playground.
Yeah,
So
kids are playing. If I have to go to Home Depot and get the sand
Right,
myself.
no, I get that part.
Yeah.
So,
See, when's the test going to take place?
We're trying to get it scheduled for this week.
But you're not going to get sand in
Do you
there.
want it to fail, or do we?
Well, if it fails, then we need to put sand in there. I mean, we need to make sure that it's.
But if we add sand and it passes or fails, then we'll know what we need to do with the surface. I just want to have it appropriate
Well, I guess-
and get it there as fast as we can.
I guess what I would hate
It's
is
a
that-
safety thing.
I guess what I would hate is that we add sand and then it fails the test.
You know what, if we add sand and it fails the test, we gotta replace it anyway, but that could take 2 months to vote on, and kids need to be safe. So I just, throw some sand in.
I mean, I disagree with putting sand in there. First off, the Hick test is going to determine if we have a drop height, that what height we can use.
But the
for
sand
this.
has not been properly maintained, is what I'm saying.
But my understanding is, based upon what you just said, is you're going to be going in there, you're going to rake up, clean it all up, get it all leveled up to account for all the drainage, water compaction and all of that, correct?
Right.
Once that's done, then we will be able to determine if indeed it is not safe. If it's not safe, we add sand.
We have to shut it
Or
down.
we shut it
and
down,
then
yeah. Or we
Determine
shut
what
it down.
surface we
Right.
utilize for.
Gotcha.
But can I just go back to, if we haven't added sand in 7 years, we really should be maintaining it, and I'd like to see some sand in that one area that's visibly low.
I think that's a point that if we go to industry standard, which I don't know, and you know better than me, should we change sand every 3 years or something like that? That maybe is the next agenda item, or it's part of, or it's simply a reserve expense.
Right.
That we just add sand if we have to switch sand every 3 years, and that's our, if that's what staff thinks we need to do, maintenance, right? And then we do it.
Right.
And if you have to come to us, which I'm not sure you do, I mean, I guess it would cost more than the reserve, but we'd approve the reserve expense.
Right.
So,
Okay, so we have,
Are we adding sand or not? I'm confused.
What we can do, Eric, to help this along, if you guys approve the volleyball court, I'll work with Todd within my spending threshold to just get what we need to do the little areas that are lower. We're not going to replenish all the sand, but I think while we're raking and trying to get it leveled a little bit more, if there's a little bit that needs to be added, we'll do that.
Thank you.
So we just need to basically vote on the motion.
Right.
Which was to approve the proposal for the volleyball court.
right. And just so that we're clear too, not to beat the dead horse, but this is more than just sand. They're also going to re-edge, define the edging of the volleyball court itself.
yeah, it needs to be done.
And then, and I have a dumb question. Is there supposed to be a sand walkway to the road, or is that just kind of what's happened over time? Do we know?
I think it's just kind of the road
It's just
out
what
there.
happened.
There's
I don't-
that's
I don't-
probably
I think-
Are we removing that?
I think it became a sand walkway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So whatever it is, if we can either define the walkway or remove the walkway, whatever it needs to be done, just so that it doesn't look like
But I think it's one of the things that maybe you should think about is maintenance operations is became a walkway for a reason. And these are the kind of things that it's going, you know what I mean? So maybe think about why it happened and maybe it will continue to happen and maybe we kind of figure out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's almost like telling a guest where to go and they tell us, you know.
No, we don't want to go there, we want to go there.
That's right, they'll tell us.
We had a motion and a second, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Action item 15, approval of attorney-instructed write-offs for September. This is tab 15.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion from Debbie and a second. Second from Jack. Discussion.
You gotta write them off.
Yeah, we have to.
We got it. Okay.
These are for, we don't have an option to reverse. Got it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Action item 16, approval to have CCMC send 11 service area to owners delinquent in their September assessments. This is
Can I interrupt for a second? Because part of that one thing to write off, there's also legal requests that are on the second page.
Yeah, I
Payment
thought that-
plans.
So there were two.
Yeah, there's a payment
Oh,
plan.
the two, so we're just voting, so the first one was regarding 03 and 04, regarding residents 03 and 04, correct?
Right.
And then,
Yeah, and then there's a new sheet
then there's
here
the
for
next
legal
page.
requests on our desk, right?
oh,
This is the updated version.
Yeah.
oh, got it.
Which is different than what's on.
Yes.
Now,
We need to discuss.
with regard to legal request, I vote to go with management's recommendation on all three of those.
Well, there's more than Jack,
now,
there's a new page.
The
There's a
add-ons,
page.
yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Six now.
And they're in bold, the new ones.
I know we go back and forth on this, that we want this all together and we want this split out. Can we have this done as a subhead?
We'll split it out.
Split it out as a subhead? Okay.
Yeah, we'll just make it its own agenda item.
Just because I'm not that smart. So. No chuckling down there, Dave.
$1,000.
For,
I think we just, a motion to approve for management/attorney requests, our recommendations, because management's recommending exactly
what the attorney says, right.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All right, all those in favor for the legal requests? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Action item 16. No, sorry.
Intent to liens.
Yeah, the intent to liens process now. Sorry, Mr. Judge.
I know, we got you confused there, Eric, a little bit.
All right, I got it.
Are we on the
Yeah, we're on intent to lien now.
So these are paid dues.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion. The this is management recommendations, obviously, well done.
No, these are all the
These
intent to liens. These are all,
This is
yeah, they're all-
everything that's listed
This is
there.
the part of the new process,
next
correct?
step.
That's exactly
It's part of the
right.
new process.
Gotcha.
For covenants.
Okay. Any further discussion? The only thing that I'll mention is that we do have one on here that's in, two on here. We're going one on here that's in Spring Lake. So that's a little disappointing to see. That we're already going through in a new construction area. So any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries. How am I doing, guys?
Good.
17, approval to initiate the finding process for 45 non-compliance items through notification of the Covenants Committee to confirm or reject the fine. This is tab 17.
And 21 of, it's 21 now, so we have
This is the
That's the
updated
update.
one. Gotcha.
3 that have corrected.
And this is because we have to go out and re-inspect today.
Gotcha. And just for clarity, for the
So that's over 44.
one person watching right now.
Other than you?
So exciting.
I know. That this is part of the new process where we have to kind of approve the Covenants Committee's fines before it goes back to the All right, any further discussion? No. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Jack moved, and then Dave seconded, right?
That's right.
Jack and Dave show. You need to top that. So we're good with that. 18? We're on 18? All right, goal update. I have a correction to goal number 1. We need an E after the I in Debbie's name.
It's fine. Thank you. Thank you for carrying it.
And so I do care.
So moved.
So
Debbie, I apologize for that. We'll correct it. We'll have that.
I think that was me, so I.
Oh, nice job, Susan.
Really not that simple.
All right.
May I proceed with
Go
my
for it.
Goal number 1 was to build mutually beneficial strategic partnerships with the county, civic community school district. We met with the county commissioner, Frank Hartford, and have discussed items concerning our county. Requested the budget for the county so that we could go through that and see how it affects our community. Have not received that yet, but we're looking at that. The calendar that we did for all the events is going very well. We're down to a couple hundred for that. And what am I forgetting? The rest I will say for board comments.
Oh, okay. Here's the dog.
The dog?
Award thingy from last month.
What?
You had a dog certificate award.
Oh.
No?
We got an award from the county commissioner for donating a bloodhound to the county to find missing children that we are donating from the proceeds of the calendar. And the puppies were born, but I met with the public information officer for the sheriff's office, and we're going to wait for the next letter so that they have the funding for the training for the second one.
Cool. All right. 2, which is me, to improve communication tools to better educate and involve members of the community, most of which that's going with the communications committee we're working on right now. So that's a short report. Number 3, develop and implement a short and long-term term.
Move to add an M on that.
Move to add an M. All right, perfect. Amenity enhancement plan. Mr. Jack.
All right, you've already voted on the long-term plan from the group, so our goal has been accomplished. And as a result of that, the task force is standing down, awaiting further instructions. So I'd like to thank Adam Parrish for his guidance, Don McDonald, Tim Swisher, Dory Moyer, and Bob Bizneri for all their help in accomplishing this.
Thank you, guys. For all ages.
Really don't have any updates on it at this time, other than the covenants process, which is kind of member service area that's moving forward, and we seem to have adapted pretty well to the new process. So.
Cool. Goal number 5, enhance branding and marketing of celebration. Mr. Moore.
I don't have anything.
You do have something, Lee.
You do have something on that, right?
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
so,
yeah, Eric, tell me what I have.
So JR has been working on coming up with a brand guide for the community, which is also going to be used as part of the communications committee, which we're using that as a guidance for the website design itself. So making sure that we're not only adhering to visual identity from a look and feel standpoint, but also from a verbiage standpoint, from copywriting and that sort of thing, so that we have a consistent voice throughout all of our marketing communications.
Thank you, Eric. I was going to say that same thing.
Perfect.
All right. So, board comments.
Yes.
Oh.
Go ahead, Debbie.
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Sure.
I got it.
I just wanted to state that I was denied my parliamentary rights, that actually when you have a motion that's been seconded on an amendment and someone tables, that vote has to occur first before the first and second on the amendment, and you can check it with Robert's rules. Just wanted to make that point. It's okay? Also, I wanted to request under section 720.303 of chapter 720 of the Florida statute, I hereby request all electronic format copies of all documents, emails, and handwritten notes pertaining to the Lexington properties, both residential and business for Town Center, which includes Front Street, Campus Street, Bloom Street, Celebration Avenue, and Sycamore, to support the President Lauren in her efforts to regain the beauty of our town. I don't know, I think it's a 10-day frame on those.
It is, and our guidelines actually say that you need to put that in writing,
I
so
will
you'll
too.
send that in email format, we'll have followed
Didn't somebody
everything.
else already do the same thing though? Ask for that exactly?
No, I don't think so.
Not-
And I just have a question because I haven't requested this before. I know there was mediation with Lexington and CCMC. Do I need a separate request in writing format to request that as well?
With Lexington and CCMC,
CCMC.
they had?
They have mediation twice.
Well, it would be CROA.
Right.
CROA,
Right.
yeah.
And I'm not sure that we're allowed to release that because it hasn't been resolved, so it's ongoing litigation, so it may be privileged in that respect.
Can you guys check for me?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
And the same thing.
Again,
request,
put it
they won't- yeah.
put it in writing.
Absolutely, I'm gonna do that right now.
And they won't give you anything that's privileged, so remember.
Cool.
And you
Mr.
could charter it though, can't you?
Mr. Jack.
No, they can't
All
charge.
right, on page 201 of our board packet, I noticed that there is a property of interest is 201 Reserve Place, and I sent an email to Steve and to Susanna. I said all items complete except for lawn. Owner expressed intention to sell. That house is not in compliance in any way, shape, or form. It's not complete. So I asked for a reinspection of that house. Also, I noted 103 East Park Crescent was under the Empower Group, and there is an intention to sell that, at least a foreclosure, a bankruptcy, or the bank is taking the property back. They also owe us $26,000 worth of money. So I'd like to see how we're going to address that and how much of that was actually from owner's dues and stuff like that. Okay, I don't want the debt to be wiped away free and clear.
Can you tell me what the address was again?
103 East Park Crescent. It's on page 55 and page 194 of the packet. Also, question for Steve: the topo chart that's out there in the lobby. What's the status?
I have emailed the folks at the school, and I'm just waiting for a response from them.
Same thing as 2 months ago.
I told you at that time that I couldn't. I was waiting to get in touch with them until school started in October. So I emailed them last week.
All right, and the last thing is I'm asking for the board to consider a amendment to Exhibit C, paragraph 10 of the rules, which discusses porches. And we've gone round and round over the past few weeks talking about objects of art that are attached to the front structure and stuff like that. And I prefer not to see a design guideline reference to this. I'd actually prefer to have to read this in the record that for the purpose of this section, the attachment of decorations and certain other objects to the front porch, walls, ceilings, steps, columns, and railings does not constitute a structural change and does not require ARC approval prior to installation. And it says decoration should, 1, be designed for outdoor use, 2, have no moving parts, 3, make no noise, 4, have no reflective surfaces, 5, not contain any words, phrases, or graphics which may be considered vulgar or profane, and 6, be of a color, material, and type compatible with the tone of the landscaping and structures existing on the property. The total area of the objects attached to the porch should not exceed 2 square feet. A, refer to the design guidelines for guidance on address numbers, doors, hardware, standard screens in storm. And these are just titles of design guidelines. Fans, exterior, flags and flagpoles, lighting, structure attached, security devices, lights, cameras, and alarms, and screen enclosures and porch screening. B, the association reserves the right to promulgate additional rules and regulations concerning, among other things, criteria and requirements relating to what furnishings and other decorative items may be placed on porches facing any public street. C, without limiting the foregoing, in all events, all furnishings and any other items located on porches facing public streets must be designed for outdoor use. And D, should any plants located on the porch, such porches die, they shall promptly be removed and replaced with living plants. So you all have copies of that. I had proposed something similar back in July. So now I'd like to either talk about this at a workshop and then bring it to the board for a vote and passing out to the population as far as public comment.
And so Jack, do we vote on this prior to it going
No,
to the residents?
I take it back. We vote to send it out to the residents. And then then they have a 30-day comment period, and then the board votes to enact it.
Right. And so essentially when I read through this, one of the biggest things that we're defining a little bit better, which I know has been unclear in the past, is what the heck a porch is.
Yes.
Which I think has been murky in the documents. This is strikingly similar to everyone that's very familiar with Exhibit C, which I'm sure in your light reading at home you are. The porches guideline is very similar to this. Mostly what Jack has added here is saying what the porch is. We've had a problem with, does the porch consist of the railing? Does the porch consist of the post? Does the porch consist of, whatever? And in order for us to be able to kind of have a little bit more uniform enforcement and clear for people for what the heck the porch is, this seems to define it a lot better than what we have today, in my opinion.
But how do we? So what do we do from here? I guess is really
So I guess what I would ask is twofold, and Jack, jump in here if I go astray. I would request that management look at the.
We're good.
That management read this over. There really isn't much of a change to it other than defining of what the heck the porch is.
Well, there is a change because now it does take it out of the ARC's control as far as individuals have a right to put stuff on their porch that they would like without ARC approval.
Right, correct.
So for me, I would like to see, I would like to ask the ARC what they think about this. I've always kind of done this kind of stuff. When we've changed a rule, I'd like to hear what the ARC thinks and maybe even have them, maybe there's some recommendations that they would have. So I would, before it comes to me, I would be asking, has the ARC looked at this and we got an opinion from the ARC, who are the experts in this? I know you are more than me, but I'm not in any way, shape, or form. So that would be my recommendation, is to see if we get ARC's approval. Then it comes back to us with some sort of commentary of some sort. We've done that before with a lot of our changes, right?
So
Get the recommendation.
if management could read it, make sure we're okay with it, send it over to ARC, see if they have a problem with it, or any further recommendations that comes to it. And then if there isn't any need for major discussion on it, then we bring it as a action item to send out to vote, Jack, on it to notice?
No, we would vote to send it out.
We vote for the notice, right?
Yes, and then there's a 30-day public comment period on it.
So,
and then we would vote to approve it.
So we would, if there's no severe brouhaha about it, it would be brought forward to us for November to vote to notice.
Right.
And then we would discuss it at that time. And if need be, if there is brouhaha about it, then we would bring it forward towards the November workshop. Is that cool with everyone? Sounds good. Putting this together. You're definitely the expert when it comes to Exhibit C. So, Jack, anything else for board comments?
Done.
All right. I do have one. We had a long-standing committee member actually move on from the Covenants Committee. Katrina Smith moved on from the committee. We received notice that she's decided to no longer be part of the committee. So I just want to thank her for her service, because she's been on that committee for quite some time and has dealt with a lot of stuff on that. Any other board comments? All right. I move to adjourn. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan, can I just ask you if this is right?
So usually technically,